Start step by step talking. The silence stretched thick and suffocating whenever I attempted to utter a single English word. My mind raced, a whirlwind of jumbled vocabulary, yet my tongue felt heavy, unresponsive. This daily ritual of mute struggle weighed heavily upon my spirit, dampening any nascent desire to learn. It truly felt like an insurmountable barrier. Confidence in speaking seemed a mythical beast, forever beyond my grasp. I envied those effortlessly conversing, their words flowing like a river. My internal monologue, however articulate in my native tongue, remained locked away when English was required. It was a profound and constant frustration, a real daily day's struggle. I knew deep down that true progress wasn't about perfect grammar alone. It hinged on daring to speak, on making mistakes, on simply beginning. But the fear of embarrassment, of misunderstanding, loomed large. How could I make confidence in speaking a tangible reality, not just a distant dream I constantly pondered? One damp Tuesday a spark ignited. I decided enough was enough. My approach needed to change fundamentally. It wasn't about perfection but about consistent tiny steps. I resolved to start step by step talking, no matter how faltering my initial attempts might be. This was my new motto, my new beginning. My first goal was to embrace the unique charm of British English. I loved its nuances, the subtle wit, the distinct pronunciation. So my journey began with immersing myself in podcasts and BBC dramas, letting the sounds wash over me, absorbing the rhythm and intonation patterns of the language. I realized how to speak with people was the ultimate aim, yet I needed foundation. Learning common phrases, understanding everyday idioms, all became part of my daily routine. My brain felt like a sponge, constantly trying to soak up every new linguistic detail available to improve conversation skills. The sheer volume of new words was overwhelming. How to remember words effectively became a paramount concern. Flashcards helped, but context truly cemented them. I started keeping a small notebook, jotting down unfamiliar vocabulary and example sentences encountered throughout the day to reinforce memory. I committed to a unique strategy: talk in English just one page per day. This meant reading an English page aloud, then summarizing it in my own words, speaking as much as possible, even if only to myself. It felt manageable, not daunting, a gentle daily push. Listening was paramount. I spent hours tuning into various accents, trying to discern the subtle differences in pronunciation and stress. From formal news reports to casual street interviews, every sound was a lesson. I learned that listen and practice were truly two sides of the same essential coin for fluency. Then came the challenge of interaction. How to talk in English wasn't just about pronunciation. It was about navigating conversations, asking questions, offering opinions. My palms would sweat, my heart would pound, but I pushed through the discomfort, bravely attempting small exchanges. My daily routine became sacrosanct. Mornings began with a quick review of new vocabulary. Commutes involved listening to British radio shows, trying to catch every word, even the slang. Evenings were dedicated to my one-page-per-day speaking exercise, a disciplined and consistent effort. The initial attempts were humbling. My sentences were clunky, my grammar often astray, and my accent undeniably foreign. But I reminded myself, this was start step by step talking. Every clumsy phrase was a step forward, every hesitant word a small victory against fear. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, I noticed a shift. Understanding conversations became easier. I could follow storylines without constantly pausing. This internal improvement, though not yet vocalized, boosted my fragile confidence. It was a silent cheer, a glimmer of hope in my linguistic journey. Remembering words became less of a chore. By actively using them in my daily one-page summaries, they transitioned from mere definitions to active tools. The connections formed in my brain felt stronger, more permanent, making recall much quicker during spontaneous thought. The daily day's struggle transformed. It was no longer a battle against insurmountable odds, but a series of manageable challenges. Each day brought a new opportunity to learn, to practice, to subtly refine my English. The pressure eased, replaced by a quiet determination. I began seeking opportunities to talk in English with real people. First, it was ordering coffee, a simple transaction. Then asking for directions. These brief interactions, though nerve-wracking, were crucial. Each successful exchange chipped away at my deep-seated speaking apprehension. Embracing British English nuances meant not just pronunciation, but also cultural context. Understanding polite phrases, common expressions, and even humor became part of my learning. It wasn't just about words. It was about fitting in, communicating genuinely, and building rapport. To make confidence in speaking truly blossom, I decided to join an online language exchange group. This offered a safe space for regular conversations, free from immediate judgment. It was terrifying at first, but the support from fellow learners was incredibly encouraging. My listen and practice regimen intensified. I started mirroring speakers, repeating phrases exactly as they said them, trying to imitate their intonation. This shadowing technique felt awkward initially, but dramatically improved my articulation and fluency over time, making words roll more naturally. The concept of how to speak with people evolved. It wasn't just about delivering information but about connecting. I learned to ask follow-up questions, to show genuine interest, to engage in banter. Communication became a two-way street, not just a monologue from me. Every day, I found new applications for talk in English, just one page per day. Sometimes it was a news article, other times a chapter from a simple novel. The consistency was key, building a habit that felt as natural as brushing my teeth each morning. How to remember words became an ongoing experiment. I discovered that associating new vocabulary with vivid mental images, or creating silly sentences, often worked wonders. Repetition in varied contexts, rather than rote memorization, proved most effective for long-term retention. The daily day's struggle had its relapses, of course. Some days I felt utterly discouraged, my progress seemingly non-existent. But I learned to acknowledge these feelings, take a brief break, and then return to my routine with renewed resolve, embracing the marathon, not sprint. I started noticing subtleties in British English that I'd previously missed, like the rising intonation in certain questions or the preference for indirect phrasing. These small discoveries made the language feel richer, more nuanced, and infinitely more fascinating to explore. My ability to make confidence in speaking grew with each successful interaction. A compliment on my improving accent, a joke understood, a complex idea articulated. These moments fueled my motivation, demonstrating that my persistent efforts were indeed yielding results. The advice to start step-by-step talking proved invaluable. It prevented overwhelming myself. Instead of aiming for perfect fluency immediately, I celebrated small milestones. successfully ordering a meal, participating in a simple discussion, or just confidently introducing myself. Engaging in casual chats helped immensely with how to speak with people. Instead of formal settings, I sought out opportunities in relaxed environments, a local pub, a community event. These less structured conversations allowed for more natural, spontaneous language practice. How to talk in English truly became about finding my own voice. I stopped trying to sound like a native speaker and focused on expressing myself clearly and authentically. This shift in mindset released immense pressure, making speaking a joyful pursuit. The discipline of talk in English just one page per day provided a structured framework for consistent practice. It ensured that even on busy days, I dedicated a specific amount of time to active speaking, preventing long gaps that could lead to regression. For how to remember words, I began using mind maps, connecting related vocabulary and concepts visually. This method helped me see the bigger picture of word families and collocations, making connections that significantly aided in recall during conversations. The daily day's struggle became less about overcoming failure and more about embracing the learning curve. I realized that mistakes were not failures but opportunities for growth, signposts guiding me towards greater accuracy and fluency. This shift was profound. My journey to learn English was less about speed and more about depth. I aimed for genuine understanding, not just surface-level memorization. This meant delving into the cultural context, the history, and the subtle connotations behind words and phrases. The power of listen and practice was undeniable. Through active listening, I honed my ear, differentiating between similar sounds. Practicing pronunciation aloud then cemented these auditory learnings, creating a strong link between what I heard and what I could produce. Applying British English to real-life situations was exhilarating. Using phrases like fancy a cuppa or taking the mickey felt natural, showing I wasn't just reciting words but truly engaging with the language on a deeper, more authentic level. To make confidence in speaking sustainable, I started recording myself. Listening back was often cringeworthy, but it provided invaluable insights into areas needing improvement, pronunciation quirks, awkward pauses, or grammatical errors that I hadn't noticed. Start step-by-step talking transformed into fluent step-by-step talking. My sentences grew longer, my ideas more complex, my delivery smoother. The initial baby steps had accumulated into significant strides, propelling me forward with increasing momentum. The art of how to speak with people wasn't just about my output, but also about active listening. I learned to truly hear what others were saying, to pick up on their cues, and to respond thoughtfully, making conversations more engaging and meaningful. How to talk in English meant adapting to different social contexts. Formal discussions required precise vocabulary, while informal chats allowed for more colloquialisms. This flexibility made me a more versatile and effective communicator in various settings. The structured approach of talk in English just one page per day had a ripple effect. It improved my reading comprehension, expanded my active vocabulary, and most importantly, solidified my speaking habits, creating a robust daily language routine. My methods for how to remember words diversified. I used spaced repetition software, watched English films with subtitles, and even tried to think entirely in English for short periods. Each strategy added another layer to my memory arsenal. The daily day's struggle now felt like a productive challenge, a positive force driving me forward. It was no longer a burden but an integral part of my journey, a reminder that growth requires consistent effort and perseverance. My dedication to learn English became a source of immense pride. It wasn't just about mastering a language. It was about opening new doors, understanding different cultures, and connecting with a global community in ways I never imagined possible. The feedback from native speakers regarding my British English accent was encouraging. Small corrections were gratefully received, refining my pronunciation and intonation until it sounded increasingly natural and authentic to the ears of listeners. The sustained effort to make confidence in speaking paid off handsomely. I no longer hesitated, no longer feared making mistakes. A newfound freedom enveloped me, allowing me to express my thoughts and feelings without restraint or self-consciousness. The transformation from step-by-step talking to effortlessly conversing was astonishing. It wasn't a sudden leap, but the cumulative effect of countless small, consistent efforts. Each daily practice session built upon the last, forming a solid foundation. How to speak with people became an enjoyable experience. I sought out conversations, eager to practice and learn more. The fear had dissipated, replaced by genuine curiosity and the thrill of connecting with others through shared language. My mastery of how to talk in English extended beyond mere functionality. I could engage in debates, share personal anecdotes, and even crack jokes. The language became a vibrant tool for expressing my personality and worldview authentically. The simple commitment to talk in English just 1 page per day was the bedrock of my success. This seemingly small daily task, when consistently applied, yielded monumental results, transforming my linguistic capabilities beyond all initial expectations. The strategies for how to remember words were no longer a struggle. They were ingrained habits. New vocabulary seamlessly integrated into my active lexicon, available instantly when needed, making conversations flow effortlessly and naturally. The daily day's struggle had morphed into a joyous exploration. Learning English was no longer a chore but a passion. Each day brought new discoveries, new nuances, cementing my belief that dedication truly unlocks potential. My journey to learn English was far from over, but the major hurdles had been cleared. I now possessed the confidence, the tools, and the unwavering motivation to continue refining my skills, eager for more linguistic adventures. The resonance of listen and practice continued to be my guiding principle. The more I listened, the better I understood. The more I practiced, the more fluent I became. It was a virtuous cycle, constantly reinforcing my progress. Embracing the unique flavor of British English made the language come alive for me. It was more than just words. It was a cultural gateway, allowing me to appreciate literature, humor, and everyday life in a new, profound way. The initial fear of how to speak with people had completely evaporated. I now approached interactions with enthusiasm, seeing them as opportunities to celebrate my progress and deepen my understanding of diverse perspectives. My ability to make confidence in speaking radiated outwards. It wasn't confined to English alone. The discipline and perseverance I cultivated enhanced my self-assurance in all aspects of my life. This was an unexpected bonus. From those first hesitant steps to fluent conversations, my journey was a testament to the power of step-by-step talking. It proved that any daunting task can be conquered through consistent, incremental effort over time. The daily day's struggle was now a distant memory, replaced by the sheer delight of uninhibited communication. I could express myself fully, connect genuinely, and truly live through the vibrant medium of the English language. My adventure in Learn English had transformed me. It wasn't just about language acquisition. It was about personal growth, resilience, and the incredible feeling of breaking down barriers, both linguistic and personal.